Welcome to Tariffs Through Time: History, Impact, and the Great Economic Debate. Tariffs have served as both protective shields and economic weapons since the founding of nations. This presentation is brought to you by Series of Thoughts as part of their Economic Studies series. This video begins with Chapter 1, exploring the origins and evolution of tariffs throughout history. The Tariff Act of 1789 marked the birth of American tariffs. Alexander Hamilton saw tariffs as vital for industrial protection and, critically, for revenue generation. Without income taxes, tariffs funded up to 95% of federal operations in the early 1800s. Alexander Hamilton is often called the, quote, father of American tariffs. His economic vision laid the foundation for American fiscal and industrial policy, shaping trade debates for centuries. The 19th century saw tariffs evolve into major sources of political conflict and industrial power. Events like the 1828 Tariff of Abominations and the Civil War era highlighted deep sectional divisions. The Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act of 1930 is a cautionary tale. Passed during the Great Depression, it raised tariffs significantly, leading to international retaliation. This caused global trade to collapse and deepened the Depression. Smoot-Hawley remains the textbook example of how protectionist policies can backfire, turning domestic problems into international disasters through retaliatory trade wars. Following World War II, the world shifted towards free trade. The creation of GATT in 1947 and the later establishment of the WTO in 1995 progressively lowered global tariffs, leading to unprecedented economic integration. We now move to Chapter 2, where we explore the practical economic impacts of tariffs. Tariffs act as consumption taxes. Importers pay the duty first, but the cost is typically passed along, meaning consumers ultimately pay through higher prices. Domestic producers, however, benefit from reduced competition. Recent U.S. policy shows a dramatic tariff surge, with the average rate reaching 15.8%, the highest since 1943. While projected to generate $2.1 trillion in revenue, this is estimated to cost the average household $1,100 annually and reduce GDP by 0.5%. This sharp increase in tariff rates marks a decisive break from the post-World War II consensus on trade, returning American tariff levels to heights not seen in over 8 decades. Tariffs cause supply chain disruptions and complex inflation dynamics. Though they may initially suppress demand, firms eventually pass on higher input costs, leading to rising inflation and a permanent decline in economic efficiency. The 2018 steel tariffs illustrate ripple effects. While some steel jobs were saved, downstream users like auto manufacturers faced higher costs, leading to net job losses. Furthermore, retaliation devastated American agricultural exports. Chapter 3 examines the central debate: the major pros and cons of implementing tariffs. Proponents argue that tariffs offer industry protection, crucial revenue generation, and national security benefits. They also serve as political leverage to counter unfair trade practices by other nations. The cons include a regressive tax burden on consumers, market distortions that lead to inefficiency, and the risk of trade war escalation. Tariffs also incentivize lobbying and corruption by special interests. The tariff debate is fundamentally about economic philosophy. It ignites passionate public disagreement because it balances national sovereignty, worker protection, and consumer welfare. We conclude with Chapter 4, focusing on the ongoing debate, legal controversies, and modern geopolitical strategies surrounding economic policies. Constitutional controversies surround tariffs, particularly the tension between congressional power to regulate commerce and the executive branch's expanded use of emergency powers to impose tariffs unilaterally. Economic schools of thought clash over tariffs. Free trade advocates emphasize efficiency, while protectionists prioritize national sovereignty and workers. Pragmatists suggest targeted use, and developmentalists highlight their historical role in industrialization. Modern trade wars are driven by geopolitical strategy, such as U.S.-China tensions. Tariffs have become tools in broader confrontations, fragmenting global supply chains and leading to strategic competition. The future requires smart policy. This involves using targeted tariffs with sunset provisions, pairing protection with worker assistance, and strengthening international institutions to prevent destructive trade wars. Navigating the trade landscape means accounting for unprecedented complexity. Global supply chains, digital commerce, climate change, and geopolitical tensions all intersect in modern tariff decisions. In conclusion, tariffs are a double-edged sword. History shows they can support industry, but also deepen depressions. Smart, balanced policies are crucial, but the fundamental debate over values ensures that tariff controversies will continue.